Okay, just want to speak a little bit about the fleece. That's just what I use because it's kind of thick. This stuff was like $4.99 a yard, and this is nowhere near a yard worth of material here. I got several yards, so I'm doing some other stuff too. You could actually use a t-shirt. T-shirt, since it's real thin, the amount of resin that's going to be infused into the t-shirt is going to be a lot more than the material itself, so it makes it real brittle. So that's one of the other reasons why I like using fleece, because there's a little bit more material, and even though there's still going to be a lot more resin infused into that than I would like, it's not going to be as brittle. As I just kind of laid the fleece over the kick panel, and I'm trying to figure out if I want to router these edges down or any of that kind of stuff. I'm probably not gonna, but that's what I'm doing right now, just kind of stretching the fleece a little bit and trying to see how I'm gonna shape this, and hopefully it'll hold its shape and I can do the other one the same way. There's a ledge in here, and I'm probably gonna try to miss that ledge and just form the fleece, or attach the fleece along this end here. This stuff's supposed to be real strong. It's supposed to be able to hold even as I put the resin, even as I apply the resin onto the fabric. So I'm going to try to use the 3M first and apply some resin to see if it'll hold. Hopefully it does. If not, for this plastic stuff, you're going to have to just put some wood or something in here, staple it from the back side, and then as you wrap over the wood, you can have some stuff to staple down to. What I'm going to do now is just apply a little bit of 3M adhesive to this main area right here to try to get the top of the fleece to stick, and then I can try to form it from there. I've never done it this way without making my own I guess foundation. So this is just going to be however this comes out. So if it doesn't come out right, oh well, we'll go back to the drawing board. And now I'm going to try to stretch my fleece out a little bit over this board. I'm going to be pulling a little bit as I apply it to the basically just want it to stick to this inner edge right here. What you can do also is take your staple gun and basically staple it into these cracks. I kind of don't want to do that though, because I've countersunk the wood in, and I don't want it to split. During my this next little part here, I kind of want it to form pretty decently against this section right here. So this is the part I'm going to do next. Basically applying this to the fleece material, and also the piece that you want it to stick to, and again waiting several seconds to allow that to tack up before you start pressing the material down. Basically what I want to do is I'm trying to stretch it away from this area here, because I know that there's a little lip right there, so I want it to stick to the outside of that lip. I don't know if that makes sense. So as I go along here, I'm trying to stretch as best as I can and just apply it to the actual basically this area right here is what I'm mostly concerned with. So I'm trying to get it to conform right here best I can. One thing that happened that I don't like is the fleece folded up against itself, and because I didn't want to mess anything up, I kind of let it do that, and it made it a little bit more difficult to get it to wrap around. But you have a small window to mess with this stuff, so basically trying to get that separated a little bit. And if all else fails, just pull it apart and redo it. I'm going to be applying a little bit more of this glue, trying to get it to wrap around a little bit better than that. I'm trying to basically get this to kind of form to the factory piece along this area here. So I kind of got what I want out of this area here. I just kind of wanted it to be as smooth as possible. What I want to do now, before I get too much further into this, I'm just going to take a razor blade and kind of clean some of this up. And okay, basically what I wanted it to do was wrap around the factory piece there, and hopefully I can get a little bit of resin in there to lock that into this portion here. Another thing you could do is before you do any of this stuff, just make sure you scuff all this stuff up real good, and that'll help with it adhering, at least initially. And once this resin cures around this area, it'll lock the two pieces together. And next I'm going to go on to trying to form the top portion right here a little bit. And like I said, the only thing I don't like about this is that usually I would wrap this around and try to get some staples up along here. That's not going to be possible, or I don't really want to do that with this little thin plastic piece. So I'm going to just make a small little notch right here, and I'm going to wrap this around and onto this portion here, the same way that I did the other side. And the whole time I'm looking, I'm going to be looking at the front portion to make sure that it's keeping the form that I want. And that way it creates that little area right there that I just want to kind of roll into one another. If I wanted it to kind of dip down a little bit, which I really don't, I would actually press that down a little further and then basically make it a little loose, or maybe press into this area here to try to tighten that up a little bit. But this is kind of how I want that to flow, just kind of nice and smooth, or smooth as possible. And on this section here, I just rolled that over. And I'm not really too concerned with that, because I can take my Dremel and clean that up later on. I'm going to take and trim some of this off. Now on this side here, I don't really like how this area right here is coming out. So I'm going to actually lift that back up once I get to that part and just try to make that a little bit more smooth. But for now, that'll be fine. Now this part's going to be start to irritate you a little bit, because you have a lot of material that you're going to have to pull together. So just try to be patient and just pull it together and figure it out as you go along. I'm probably going to end up folding this over, and it's going to create a lot of material right here, but you can just trim that off later. Keep all the wrinkles and stuff to a minimum. And you do that by just stretching it out. And that's kind of like what I want right there. So, it's alright. Right now I got a lot of excess material, so I'm going to try to trim a little bit of this crap off. And I wouldn't be applying resin to all of it anyway, so. The last little bit I need to form is going to be this bottom section. Like I said, I don't really like this right here. So I'm going to lift this up, and I'm going to pull it a little bit tighter and hopefully smooth that out a little bit better. And this is pretty much the last little corner here. Hopefully I can get this part right. Basically just trying to pull as tight as I can. You start seeing wrinkles and stuff, but not too much worried about those. So I wanted to smooth that area right there out, which I just did. And basically you just want to keep grabbing a little bit of material and pressing it down to try to get these little wrinkles out. Kind of moving a little bit fast because this glue is pretty strong, and I don't want to have to rip this up and reapply it and all that stuff. So. I'm not too concerned with this area here, because this is the bottom portion of the panel. I'm more concerned with all this. So. And again, like I said, my back's killing me a little bit, so I ain't gonna work on this for too much longer. However, that's the bottom piece. This is kind of what it'll look like when after I apply the resin. Hopefully it keeps its shape. Some of this other stuff, like I said, like this part in here, I'm not too concerned with that. This part sits down in the car like this. I do want to trim some of this away because I want it to fit properly. So after I apply the resin in the areas where I can get it to lock in a little bit, then I'll go back and cut this stuff out and make it right. So there you have it. Hopefully it makes sense, and hopefully it's this isn't wasting everybody's time. I think it looks pretty good. It's formed the way I want it to form. I just kind of want it to countersink in a little bit so that I can set the speaker in there, make it look nicer than if it were just sticking out.